We had two football matches go down in the Asian Cup this morning. One had actual quality, the other did not. However, it is my responsibility to talk about both of these games, so that's what I'm going to do. We had the Jordanians tie the South Koreans in somewhat of a surprise result, 2-2, and an absolute snoozer. Bahrain won, Malaysia nil. But shout out to y'all who still jumped in the live stream. I had a good time. And if you don't want to miss the next Asian Cup live stream, then there's two things you need to do. Number one, I need you to hit subscribe. Also, so you'll see the daily content that we're uploading here on the channel. And also, check out the Twitter, link in the description. Let's start with the Koreans. I feel like there was a little bit of panic online that I was seeing after the first choice goalkeeper went down. And Cho Hyun-woo, I feel like today did decent. I will say though, on the second Jordan goal scored by Yazan, I feel like he could do a little better there with his positioning. But I don't think it's completely his fault. I feel like the center back could have tried a little bit harder to block the shot. And outside of that moment, I felt like Cho was solid. Now it's important to distinguish, I'm not talking about Cho Gae-sung, who 2 games in, guys, I have to say he's having a bit of a stinker. I think against Bahrain, he might have had more of an excuse. It was like, okay, my man's not getting the service. But now we're 2 games in, and really, Cho Gae-sung should have 2 goals by this point. There's a really good shot from Korea near the end of the first half after Jordan go up 2-1. I think it's Son's shot, and the rebound falls to Cho, and he just absolutely whiffs it off the ground. It's a terrible shot. So I'm pretty confident in saying that all Koreans out there are hoping that Cho Gae-sung can find his form as the knockouts are just around the corner. Though the biggest concern for Korea is probably the defense. Still, you guys let me know in the comments if you disagree. This was the second game in a row that KJ Lee was subbed off at halftime. Obviously, that man is not the answer at the left back position. I think it's also safe to say that Lee Gang-in had a better game against Bahrain than he did against Jordan. I mean, against Bahrain, he was hands down the man of the match. Unplayable, truly. Against Jordan, it was a little more tame. He was struggling to find the pockets of space. He wasn't quite creating as much as he did against the Bahrainians, who are objectively worse than Jordan. I think that's on full display here now. Overall, though, not a terrible game. Son Heung-min, oh man, it's a little difficult to assess him because I feel like the penalty he drew early on in the game, very good run. I feel like he's doing the things right, just not putting the ball in the back of the net. There's one moment in this game where EJ Sung sets up Son Heung-min beautifully in the box. I mean, he might be 10 yards out, and that's got to result in a goal. We're talking about a world-class player here. That is just what we have come to expect from Son, and we haven't quite seen it yet. Again, I'm not saying he's had a terrible Asian Cup, but I think he's yet to really reach his true level. And for some Koreans, that's not surprising at all because y'all tell me all the time that when he's repping the South Korean national team, Son Heung-min has always been a little bit worse than he's looked at Spurs. Let's end Korea on some positives. Number one, Hwang absolutely balling out. Arguably Korea's best player in the tournament so far. And also, I think the Koreans should find some encouragement that despite not having a great game today against Jordan, you still scored 2 goals. We've seen other big teams with this Asian Cup struggle, of course, with Japan's famous loss against Iraq yesterday. I think that Koreans should take a little comfort that it wasn't a great game. They're playing a team that was scorching hot in Jordan, and they got a draw. And if we're talking like total balance of play, probably Korea deserved the win slightly more than Jordan, but the Jordanians are not playing around. Yazan Al-Tamait and Al-Tamari, again, complete ballers for this team, and I want to apologize. I was not familiar with their game. Now, Al-Mardi, not quite his game. I felt like he was much better against Malaysia, but it's also Malaysia. You won the game 4-0, so naturally your attacking players are probably going to have a better showing then. But Malaysia are absolutely finished, and we're going to get to them later. Now, after these 2 results from Jordan, a 4-0 win against Malaysia and a 2-2 draw against South Korea, do you guys consider them a legitimate sleeper team now? On one hand, I do, in the sense that the Jordanian attack is legit, it's terrifying, and it is, of all the counterattacking teams, one of the most potent at this tournament. And so whenever you have that play style, you always have the potential, right, for an upset. On the flip side, though, they've beaten Malaysia, who are looking like one of the worst teams at this Asian Cup. And I'm not going to say it was a fortunate draw today against South Korea, but I think if South Korea ended up with the 3 points, I don't think it's undeserved. I'll put it like that. Should they beat Bahrain in the next game? Absolutely, and I think they will, and I think it'll be a 2-0. From what I've seen from these 2 teams, Jordan has an attack that Bahrain is dreaming about. They have a midfield that is better than Bahrain, and the defenses are probably about even, though I'd probably also have to give Jordan the goalkeeping edge as well. So in a nutshell, I think the Jordanians have impressed a lot. I think a lot of people, I said it on the live stream earlier, they were looking at those friendly losses and they were saying this team is trash. When in reality, it looks like they were playing us the whole time. They wanted to come into this Asian Cup with not a single eyeball, not even a spotlight, not a flashlight on this team so they could just do their thing in the dark. After these 2 results, I feel like the veil might be lifting a little bit, and especially if they beat down Bahrain, but we'll see. Maybe I'm hating a little bit. I can see Jordan making best case scenarios the quarterfinals. Of course, we'll have to see what the round of 16 matchup is, but I don't really think they can go further than that. You know who's definitely not making the quarterfinals is Malaysia, and good lord, we're 2 games in, 0 goals scored, 5 conceded. This is a Malaysian team that I looked at like, okay, they're probably not going to win that many games at the Asian Cup, but at least Malaysia is going to be one of the most entertaining teams to watch. There's going to be some shootouts. They might not win those shootouts, but we're going to see goals. Well, we did see goals in the first game, 4 conceded, and then absolutely nothing against Bahrain. I'm not going to act like Malaysia are stacked, right? But they do have some gems in the attack. Their wide players are the strongest on the team, but they've done nothing. Faisal Halim, bro, ghost show with this Asian Cup so far. He had one good chance created in this game, and I will give him credit. It should have been a goal, but Paulo Josue, one of the most trash footballers I've ever seen. That man cannot be starting for Malaysia. I'm sorry. I would rather have seen them throw in some kid from the U20s than that scrub. If you are in your early 30s playing for a national team and you can't use your left foot, embarrassing. Really, most of Malaysia has been embarrassing at this Asian Cup. That's the only way to put it. Malaysia might as well have played 2 men down because their 2 central midfielders, Stuart Wilkin and Abba, were just woeful today. Abba especially. I mean, I've never seen a man make the wrong decision so many times in a row. So far in this Asian Cup, Malaysia have shown that they can really only do 2 things. Number 1, put cross after cross into the box, and number 2, pray. Pray that it's going to find a Malaysian forehead or a Malaysian boot. And you know what? After 180 minutes of football, they ain't even gotten close. Now again, to be positive, I think the standout player by a mile today for Malaysia was Dion Cools. In fact, I'm going to look up my man's stats right now. He must have had crazy interceptions and blocks and clearances. 24 35 passing, not that good, 69%. 60 touches, I guarantee you that's leading the team. 6 passes into the final third, again, I feel like that's probably leading the team. 1 tackle, 7 clearances, 4 recoveries, 3 ground duels won, 7 aerial duels. Hashtag no help. You know what? I should also give credit to the Malaysian Harry Maguire, as you guys in the chat educated me to his nickname, Dominic Tan. That man was flirting with a yellow card harder than I do when I see a woman from the steps in the club. And you know what? Like myself, he was also unsuccessful in acquiring that yellow card. I feel like he had a solid game overall. Matthew Davies, the captain, brother. I mean, it's time to pass the armband on to someone else. I saw all over Malaysia Instagram and Twitter that the fans want Kim Pen gone. Well, gone. To me, that seems like a dumb decision. I think it's very obvious from these 2 games that Malaysia, this is not a complete team. They have holes all over the pitch. I think he's doing what he can with the pieces he's been given. Now, should Malaysia have lost to Bahrain today 1-0? I would say no, and Kim deserves blame for that. But at the same time, you concede in the 95th minute because Akyar decides to completely bottle the entire game. He said, let me make this about myself, and concedes a useless corner kick to Bahrain when my man could have booted it up the field. So to me, that's more of an individual mistake. It's not like Bahrain tactically dominated Malaysia. It's kind of like a user error near the end there, and a very good strike from Adnan. Now the Malaysians have Korea in the next match, and the Malaysians are already eliminated. They join Southeast Asian brothers Vietnam as the first 2 teams to be out of the Asian Cup. So I guess in this final game, it's going to be a lot of pride. It's going to be a lot of players trying to show individually that they belong in this national team. If I was Kim, I'd get a little experimental with the lineup. I'd play the new kids, and I'd see what I can do against an Asian Cup favorite like Korea. You're already eliminated. You got the worst goal differential probably at the Asian Cup. You got nothing to lose, man. I just say go for it. Finally, we have Bahrain, and I want to say that Ali Adnan, who got the goal in the 95th minute, I feel like he probably was Bahrain's best player today. He had a couple good chances created by himself. He just couldn't really find a teammate in the middle, and the quality of Bahrain's 9s are also trash. If I had to go like for like, I think Bahrain overall created more dangerous chances than the Malaysians. But again, I feel like the center forwards for Bahrain kind of waft every single opportunity. I don't want to compliment Bahrain too much because they were playing Malaysia, but I thought that the defending was good in the back. I thought the midfield, completely dominated Malaysia's midfield, wouldn't let them string any passes together. But at the same time, Malaysia kind of made it easy for them by being extremely predictable and just not being able to even bring down a ball. I think if you're playing Bahrain and you're a team that is not technically sound, that is probably a nightmare matchup because of how the Bahrainians like to set up. But if you are a Korea, a Japan, a Qatar even, if you have a guy like Akram Afif, Lee Gang-in, Kubo, anybody like that in the middle who can turn, distribute quickly, I think you're going to tear these guys up. So congratulations to Bahrain. It's a big 3 points. I do think that they will go through now as one of the better third-place teams. Who they're going to get in the knockouts, I'm not totally sure. I don't really think it matters. I cannot see them beating a team that's even decent at this Asian Cup. I think a round of 16 is still successful, given where this Bahrain team is, given the talent on this squad, given that Beatsy is the manager. But I think that's where the fairy tale ends. Next up, they have Jordan, and I already said I don't think they have enough to compete in this game. I think Jordan are going to body them pretty decisively. I could see a 2-0, maybe a 3-0 if Altamari balls out, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. That's the video, guys. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Hit subscribe so you don't miss daily uploads on Deadball TV covering the Asian Cup and the live streams that we got going on. Check out the Instagram, the Twitter, and the Discord. All those links can be found in the description of this video. I appreciate y'all for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.